This episode of Storytellers is brought to you by these fine companies.
I'm Ed Mcculloch, and you're watching Storytellers on Competition Plus TV. I had the bankroll to get me into next year. And so that was an important time of the year. I put enough money, I could take enough money there that I was good to get into next year. And Donor's the one that did that.
Yeah,
but
being with Donor also had a price. You'd find yourself in situations where, how did I get myself into this and how am I going to get out of it?
Well, Donor was an opportunist. I mean, he would see something. Him and Steve Evans, I mean, had the ability to, I mean, they could create a riot just, you know, over the PA. One time in Seattle, I mean, one of the deals, they had all of the cars. He says, he calls me up the tower, he says, here's what I want you to do. He says, I'm going to line all the cars up out there. He says, I want you to stay in the pits. He says, and when we let you know, at the end of the national anthem or whatever the call was to do, he says, I want you to fire the car, drive it down the racetrack between all the cars, turn on the return road and do a burnout back down the return road. And I'll pay you $500 extra. Well, $500 is a lot of money then. Okay, so no big deal. But looking back, I mean, I remember what it felt like, because it was sort of a stupid thing to do, but not thinking. I mean, I get in the car and I mean, I didn't have any fire suit on. I didn't have a helmet on. I didn't have anything on, and I mean, I'm idling it down, between the cars. I make the turn and I stop on the return road and I hit the throttle and I mean, it hurt. I mean, just from the lack of padding from the fire suit and rattling around, my body hurt from doing the burnout down that return road. I mean, it's that severe with nothing on. That's part of why I wear hearing aids today. But if Donor wanted to do it, let's go do it.
So, what was it true that you were Bill Donor's enforcer?
Oh. Bill Donor's not a fighter. Bill Donor, I mean, I love the guy to death. We had a great relationship. He took care of me very well, but he's a wuss. I mean, he was. Steve Woomer, I don't know if you know that name. I know a lot of the guys would know the name, but Steve Woomer was competition specialties in Seattle. Steve and I were a lot alike. I mean, he'd fight at a drop of a hat. Well, we'd go to Seattle. Well, Donor and Steve and I, we'd go out a lot. Well, we'd be in some bar, and I mean, Boomer and I were like Steve's or Donor's bodyguards. Donor walk around there like, I mean, cocky and poke some guy in the chest or something, and the guy jump on him. Donor jump under the table and get him. I mean, so it's up to me and Woomer to keep Donor from getting his butt kicked because he's over here under a table. But it was just, I love the Dones, but he would start a lot of stuff, but he sure wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a scrapper. But
so tell me about the time he sent you down to deal with this unruly racer that we all know today.
Well, that story was, that was at Orange County, and I mean, I get a call to come to the top of the tower, Orange County Tower. And I don't know, what they want, so I mean, I go and I make my way up, and Donor's up on top of the tower. And this was way back, way back. And he says, this John Force guy, he says, he's a pain in my ass. He says, he's down there. He says, go straighten him out. Go run him off. Tell him to get out of here. I said, don't, that ain't, That ain't for me to do. Well, just go down there and just, you tell him that I don't want to see him. I said, well, I can tell him that, but, you know, whatever, you know. And it was John Force that he was talking about. And that was in the very early days. I don't know what it was that he didn't want to see Force, but whatever it was, that was it.
What'd you say to him?
I just said, Donor don't want to see you, so you might as well go back to your trailer. And I'm sure that Force probably doesn't even remember that incident.
So I think the second most famous thing is when you and Jim Dunn had to knock back a riot that was about to happen because the curfew hit you guys. Where was that, Bend, Oregon?
No, it's in Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon. Tell me the story about the Eugene, Oregon incident.
It was one of the races, one of Donor's races, and that was an 8th mile racetrack. But it was one of the races when we'd come back out, when the Western Swing became more well known and bigger. I mean, we got a lot of cars. I mean, us, the Blue Max, Snake, McEwen, you know, Dunn, a lot of the guys did that tour, along with, you know, the local guys. Well, we were in Eugene, Oregon, and Balboa Raceway is what the name of the place was. And it was a little podunk racetrack, but I mean, typical deal. It was jam-packed with people. And we had gone out, I mean, it was, I don't know, it was you know, make 2 or 3 runs, whatever it was. And we had made, I don't know if we'd made 1 run or 2 runs, but I mean, it was getting late. Unbeknownst to us or anybody else, there was a curfew. We're getting ready to make our next run, and all of a sudden, you know, here the cops are out there, and I mean, it's all this, you know, commotion, and there's, you know, they make the announcement that, you know, that the race is being shut down because of the curfew. Well, the next thing we know, somebody says, you know, they're storming the tower, getting ready to storm the tower. Well, Donor is in there, and he comes over, he says, ace to the tower. Well, I head up there, and Jim Dunn and we're going up there, and I mean, all these people are out the tower, and I mean, they're throwing rocks, and, you know, we want them to run, and, you know, and Dunn and we go over and say, wait, you know. He says, it's not these guys' fault, it's just the police. We need to go down to the police station. Let's all go down to the police station and riot down there. Yeah, you know. So, I mean, we sort of pulled the heat off of there, and little did anybody know, but Beetle had taken Donor out the back door with all the money and everything, and they had split the opposite direction, but they were going to burn the tower, but we got it, you know, settled down, and I don't think anybody ever went downtown, but that was the intent for them to go downtown.